North Idaho College proudly presents NIC Today, an informational news magazine that highlights the people, programs, and campus life at North Idaho College and the surrounding community. And now, your host and moderator, President of North Idaho College, Dr. Joe Dunlap.
We have the privilege today of hearing from our community colleges, and first one up is President Joe Dunlap, who's the president of North Idaho College. Welcome to the committee. The time is now yours, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, Chairman Cameron. Members of the JFAC committee, thank you for the opportunity to come before you and talk about NIC and our legislative requests. Today with me, we have four of our trustees. We have Chair of our board, Christy Wood. We have Secretary Treasurer, Judy Meyer. Former board chair, Ken Howard. And Todd Banducci. Not able to attend with us today is Vice Chair Ron Nielsen. Within our mission, North Idaho College is a comprehensive community college that performs the 5 traditional functions of community colleges. And those are the transfer mission that prepares students to transfer to 4-year institutions, the career and technical mission that puts people back to work, and our 4 credit programs, the non-credit workforce development short-term training mission, adult basic education, and continuing education. The North Idaho College trustees, faculty, and staff are committed to student success, but we need your assistance to move the needle for complete college Idaho. The core themes of North Idaho College represent our values and our commitment to the region. They include student success, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. But we also are committed to educational excellence and to high-quality transfer and relevant career and technical education programs. We are a vital member of our community and represent a significant impact on economic development within our community. Our stewardship includes the lands that we reside on, which are the former gathering grounds for the Coeur d'Alene tribe, fiscal stewardship, and stewardship of our employees and students. We have a special relationship with the Coeur d'Alene tribe and serve over 200 American Indian students. And we are committed to promoting diversity through international programs, serving regional populations, and opening the minds of students by teaching them how to think critically. Just a little bit about North Idaho College. It was established in 1933. We serve the 5 northern counties in Idaho, and we operate 3 outreach centers in Sandpoint, Kellogg, and Bonners Ferry. We serve 5,776 4-credit students, with 65% of those students coming from Kootenai County. With our Agency on Aging, our dual credit programs, ABE and GED programs, workforce development programs, and Head Start, we touch almost 18,000 lives annually in the 5 northern counties. The average cost of attendance for tuition and fees is $2,974, and we awarded over $1 million worth of scholarships and awarded 1,606 degrees and certificates. Over the past 2 years, we have been awarded over $10 million in workforce-related external grants that support regional business and industry initiatives. NIC will be opening a new self-funded career and technical education facility in fall of 2016 to better serve our regional business and industry, and it will be located next to the K-Tech facility, which is a high school career and technical high school, and will provide seamless pathways for those students. We opened an entrepreneurship center, which was underwritten by the Avista Corporation to better serve aspiring entrepreneurs. Through a $3 million Department of Labor grant, NIC opened an Aerospace Center of Excellence that offers non-destructive testing, composites, advanced manufacturing, and aviation maintenance technology programs. Through an Idaho Department of Labor grant, NIC opened a forestry program that serves 11 mills and offers scaling, programmable logic controllers, and sharpening technician programs. And this year, NIC received a $6.4 million Department of Labor grant to create a healthcare center of excellence with programs in pharmacy tech, surgical tech, dental hygiene, dental assisting, medical lab technician, medical assisting, and paramedic and RN bridge programs for our veterans. And this is a partnership with ISU, Lewis Clark State College, and Eastern Idaho Technical College. Enrollment history over the last 15 years has shown a steady trend leading into the 2008 recession. And then there is a significant jump where we increased enrollment by 46%. However, our enrollment is inversely proportional to what is happening in the economy, and we have now begun to see a decline. And this past year, we experienced a 10% decline in enrollment and took a $2.3 million budget reduction to ensure that we were fiscally responsible. We expect to increase significantly our dual credit over the next year, and I'll talk a little bit about those initiatives in a moment, and that's in part due to the fast forward funding and a new dual credit team that we have in place. Funding support, however, shows a different story. State funding levels in general fund and career and technical allocations have essentially been the same as they were 12 years ago. When factoring in an inflation factor, we're actually receiving 32% less than what we received in 2002. The consequence is that the burden of funding has fallen on the backs of students and in-district taxpayers, and that's represented by the purple and blue lines on this graph. In the past 2 years, all new programs have been started with grant monies or through reallocation of resources. One other pending concern is that in 1992, with the out-of-district liquor distribution for out-of-district students, which amounts to $500 per student per semester, that has remained constant until today. And that was designed to offset the in-district taxpayers. And at the time this was implemented, tuition for an entire semester was $265. Today, it's $1,476, and sadly, the liquor distribution is still at $500. This is creating a significant burden on the counties and in-district taxpayers. And we are working with the Association of Counties to try and develop some recommended solutions. In terms of practices to move or to do our part in moving the needle towards the 60% goal, we have implemented remediation reform. And a good example of that is we offer what's called an English Plus course, which means a student is enrolled in an English 101 class and then takes a 1-credit class that provides mentoring for that individual. This is in lieu of taking many English remediation courses. And we had a 76% success rate or go-on rate with that program, and it saved those students in the program $31,000 in tuition by truncating that remediation. We also have been reducing our time to degree requirement, and we are poised to reduce most of our AS and AA degrees to 60 credits. We have adopted student success best practices across the institution, which include intrusive advising, learning cohorts, and early alert systems. Enrollment management has become increasingly important, and we have placed greater emphasis on dual credit, distance learning, outreach centers, and our P-TECH partnership. P-TECH is Pathways to Technology Early College Collegiate School, and it's a pilot funded by the J.K. Albertson Foundation designed to create more career and technical and distance learning opportunities for high school students. In addition, we have orientations that are mandatory not only for freshmen, but now for sophomores as well. We also implemented strategies to reduce student debt, and our success has been that we have gone from an average debt rate of $6,500 per student to $2,500 per student through counseling and financial planning workshops. And then we implemented a pilot project which is called the Village Project and is funded by the Albertsons Foundation. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in terms of those best practice strategies. We started with, 75 students, and this year we'll go up to 150 students. And these are students that are at risk. The strategies that we put in place are early alert systems that identify when students are in trouble and provide assistance at an earlier time for these students. I mentioned intrusive advising. We also teach in a cohort environment so that there is peer support. There are peer support groups for those students. We've implemented college success classes, college prep classes, and peer mentoring. And we have already experienced an 84% persistence or go-on rate, while these students at risk would normally be expected to only achieve a 5% go-on rate. We would like to expand and institutionalize these initiatives and best practices and have demonstrated these strategies can significantly move the needle towards the 60% goal. But we can not do that without your assistance. The challenges in meeting the 60% goal. I've already mentioned funding, both career and technical and general fund funding, which are essentially the same since 2002. In addition, we augment from our general fund to the tune of approximately $1 million career and technical education because the funding received does not cover the entire cost of career and technical education. We need personnel to help implement these strategies and best practices, and that will be the genesis of our legislative request, which I'll talk about in just a moment. I've already mentioned the out-of-liquor distribution that has been stagnant since 1982. Also, we are very grateful that the governor has proposed a CEC funding of 3% for our employees, which is extremely important in terms of retention. However, that will cover 1/3 of the cost of the implementation of CEC. Our legislative priorities are all geared towards Complete College Idaho. And it was recommended in the governor's budget $257,300 for 4 additional advisors. And that's out of a request of $1,012,000. And what we have requested is based upon successful pilot programs funded by short-term grants at our institution that have proven successful. We are requesting a retention completion coordinator, that's 1 FTE, advising staff, which is 4 FTE, a summer remediation program, which is 3 FTE, a transition coordinator, which is 1 FTE, intrusive advising for part-time and adjunct faculty at 5 FTE, and that's for part-time advising. We also are requesting faculty professional development and the expansion of Quality Matters, which is a program of peer review and improvement for online and distance learning programs. We have also requested a disability coordinator and data systems analyst. Other legislative requests include a request to the Permanent Building Fund for $4 million for a joint use facility to be built on our higher education campus, and it is a joint project between Lewis Clark State College, University of Idaho, and Kootenai Health. The facility would support classroom space and student services, and this would free up space in our health science building to support the expansion of those health care programs I previously mentioned. The supplemental request that we submitted includes equipment, a school resource officer, alert software and equipment, and surveillance equipment to better provide safety and security for our employees and students. There have also been significant costs incurred for the implementation of a more comprehensive Title IX program that includes a certified Title IX officer as well as a Title IX investigator. North Idaho College spent $10 million to acquire an adjacent mill site and worked with the city to transform it into a higher education campus. We have acquired significant workforce grants to support business and industry, and we regularly collaborate with CSI, CWI, Lewis Clark State College, ISU, and Eastern Idaho Technical College and University of Idaho on a variety of initiatives, including grants, programs, facilities, and curricula to try and make scarce resources go further. The community colleges of Idaho have done heavy lifting during the recession, accommodating significant increases in enrollment, putting people back to work, and preparing over 50% of Idaho freshmen and sophomores for upper division work at the four-year institutions, and creating more career and technical programs. However, we have reached our limit in terms of what we can do with current levels of funding, and we want to help you move that needle to the 60% goal, and in order to do so, we are requesting your assistance. On behalf of the North Idaho College trustees, faculty, staff, and students, and our service region, thank you for the opportunity to appear before you, and in advance, we thank you for your support. Thank you, Chairman Cameron.
Thank you, President. Appreciate your presentation. Are there questions for President Dunlap regarding North Idaho College? Representative Gannon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Mr. President. As you went through your presentation, you mentioned the security issues that you need increased funding for and the 3% CEC. If the legislature does not give you that increased funding, that you've requested for these two purposes, would you consider that to be an unfunded mandate, as the term is used in the legislature?
Representative.
Chairman Cameron,
President.
Representative Gannon. It wouldn't be an unfunded mandate from the legislature, but it's an unfunded mandate from the college. We feel that our highest priority is the safety and security of our students, and we have got to make sure that they are safe and secure on our campus. And last week, just by way of example, we conducted a lockdown drill, and we did that at our 3 outreach centers as well. And that was to test our alert system and to make sure that we can respond in quick order. In terms of the CEC, if the CEC is funded, our 2/3 of it is an unfunded mandate, and we have to make up that difference. Now, the difference to us will be an additional $600,000. So the question becomes, where do we pull that from? And will it be at the expense of Complete College Idaho initiatives?
Senator Nux. Representative Gannon, did you have a follow-up?
Just one other question. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman and President, do you foresee any, under either the governor's budget scenario or your budget scenario, do you foresee any tuition increase this year?
President
Mr. Chairman,
Dunlap.
Representative Gannon, that is a possibility. We are going through our budgeting process right now. And the two options we have at the college to increase funding is tuition increases and local property tax increases. Those will both be on the table and will be considered, but I can't tell you today if that will be recommended because we don't know what the result of this committee and the legislature will be, and that will clearly have an impact on us.
Senator Nuxall.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And President, this village project, how long has that been going, and are you the only college that has this project?
Chairman Cameron, Senator Nuxall. The project was initially funded under a different name by the Albertsons Foundation, and I believe the other community colleges participated as well in that project. It was refunded, and we participated in the refunding of that, and it was renamed the Village Project. Now, I'm not sure if the other community colleges are participating in that or not, but the funding will run out in another year.
Senator Schmidt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, President. And I'm going to follow up on Senator Nuxall's question about the Village Project. So the initial fund, could you describe how much the initial funding was for the Albertsons grant, and then what the state would be paying ongoing?
Okay. Chairman and Senator Schmidt, I'm going to need some assistance on that. 50,000. The initial funding was $500,000. Now, when I went through our legislative request, that is to expand this program college-wide. And all of those positions that I mentioned impact those strategies, those best practices. And so depending on the level of funding will determine on how far we can expand the program and which strategies we can actually implement.
Just as a follow-up.
Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So in my understanding was the original grant provided services for about 75 students, and the expectation is to move it to 150. Is that correct?
President.
Chairman and Senator Schmidt, that's correct. The first year it was 75. Next year it's 150, and we would like to be able to expand that college-wide.
Thank you.
Further questions? Senator Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, my question is for the analyst. I have a question in our budget book.
Okay. Go ahead, state your question. I'm sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At the bottom of page 1-75, I'm a little bit confused here. It has the governor's recommendation, and I'm looking at the three areas where there's funding. It talks about FTPs, and they're all separated by semicolons. The first one talks about funding for FTPs at the College of Southern Idaho. The next part of that sentence references FTPs at the College of Western Idaho. And then the last segment of that sentence refers to FTP funding, but it doesn't attribute them to any of the colleges. So I'm just curious to know which of the three colleges does that refer to, please?
Mr. Headley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Senator Johnson, I believe that would apply to North Idaho College. However, that is the governor's recommendation, so possibly the governor's analyst could speak to that as well.
Mr. Hahn, do you wish to respond for us? And if you would, identify yourself for the record.
Mr. Chairman, my name is David Hahn with the Division of Financial Management, and that is the case. That recommendation that you see at the bottom there under analyst comments does apply to NIC.
Further questions? Seeing no further questions, they're letting you off pretty easy today, President.
Thank you, Chairman Cameron, and thank you, members of the committee. We appreciate the opportunity to appear before you.
Thank you. We appreciate all you do and the other presidents. We appreciate the relationship that you have with the College of Southern Idaho and the College of Western Idaho. We appreciate that working relationship very much, so thank you.